Hello and welcome to episode 5 of the DuFour podcast. That's not right at all. The DuFour podcast, my apologies. And it is my absolute pleasure to have a very good friend of mine, one of my best friends that I've made from the wrestling business, old Kenny Craig.
Thank you for having me, Travis. How are you?
I'm swell. I'm so swell. And I'm not as swell and swollen as the fitness guru, Kenny Craig, but everybody has to have goals.
See, nobody ever is. Nobody's ever going to be as swole as Kenny Craig. Many have tried, but none have succeeded.
This is true. Many have tried, and we've watched them fail together, Kenny. But to kind of give everybody a broad look at where we've been as far as in the wrestling industry together, myself and Kenny have been on a lot of, and whenever I talk about a lot of cards, I'm talking a lot of cards together. We have seen companies come and go. We've been a part of companies' rises, and we've been a part of their demise, and we've been through a lot together.
That's right, we have. We've known each other for what, over 10 years?
Yes, 12 years. I was thinking about that, dude.
And we've been wrestling together professionally for what, 7, 8 of those years? Like, traveling, I would say. Quite a number of years.
Well, in 2005, I met you through a backyard wrestling connection. We'll talk about it because it was so long ago, and it's okay, you know, and it is perfectly fine. In 2005, my mutual friends had met you and your connections, and you guys were up in the Maryland area renting professional wrestling rings and kind of getting together. You and your buddies were getting together and holding like these shows, and me and my buddies were holding shows, and we didn't know each other. And we were, an hour away from each other? We never knew each other.
Roughly, yeah. You guys were you were in the West Virginia area, Martinsburg, roughly.
Yeah.
Martinsburg, Ranson, and I'm from Brunswick, and that's roughly where we were, Brunswick, Frederick, and Maryland, and it's about a half-hour drive. Well, no, we're right on the border of West Virginia, so it's about an hour, 45 minutes an hour. So yeah, we, like you said, mutual connection, and we had a ring, and at least it was my first time ever in the ring, and one thing led to another. We had you guys come up, and we had it going on. It was basically the summer of 2005.
Yep.
We ran shows basically every Saturday and Sunday.
What a fun time. I mean, people can dog backyard wrestling and all that all they want to, but I will tell you this, firsthand experience, that the friendships that I got out of meeting up on the weekends with my friends, we became family, and it was a great time. And you're right, in the summer of 2005, I met Kenny Craig, and to be quite honest with you, in professional wrestling, me and you never worked a one-on-one match, me versus you. Am I right, or? No,
we actually did. And for Lancaster Championship Wrestling, they had a.
That's right.
They had a big three. It was three companies on one show, and
yeah,
we worked the pre-show.
Yeah, out of the three companies, one offered Tito Santana, one offered Shane Douglas, and the other offered Travis DuFour and Kenny Craig
on the pre-show.
I'll take it. I don't care.
Yeah, it was nice. It was I think that was the only time we've ever worked one-on-one professionally.
Yeah. And we have been a part of stables together out there in All-Star Wrestling. Me, you, and Tyler Caton. We were a part of a one-night-only stable. And then me and you went down to Virginia. We were in a tag team down there.
A one time?
Yes.
Before my car accident.
Yes, right before your car accident, which has ultimately led to you not being an active wrestler anymore. Would that be truthful?
Yes and no. 3 years ago, I was in my car accident, and I shattered my right kneecap, my right wrist. Seatbelt said, police said pretty much seatbelt saved my life. It was
because that would have ejected you.
Yeah.
If people would see the picture of the car, you would know firsthand if there was not a seatbelt involved. Kenny would have been taking the hardest bump of his life.
Yeah, I ran into the back of basically a parked semi going 70 miles an hour on 81.
Yeah, you were taking the exit ramp, right?
Yes, and honestly, I wasn't on my phone. They checked it, but I happened to look at my radio, and when I glanced up to get off the exit, it was stopped. And ironically, you would have been the last person to ever hear from me, because I voxed you literally 15 minutes before that had happened. So you would have been the last person to ever hear from Kenny Craig.
You were driving down the road and you say, "God damn it, I hate Kiss. Change the station." Bang.
And the Oak Ridge Boys would have been the last song I ever heard. But
who?
The Oak Ridge Boys.
I've never heard of them.
It's an old country band, country group.
Okay.
But no, I had my accident, and I had knee surgery, and I was pretty much laid up and out of wrestling for probably a year and a half because of rehab and all that. And I had lost quite a considerable amount of weight.
Yeah, you did.
Because of that, and not being too active, can't walk, get around. But I came back, and I had my first match was for
Superstar Wrestling.
No, it was for I can't think of it right now.
Rob Wells?
Yeah.
Yeah, that company.
Yeah.
God.
Well, I can't.
Showcase.
Pro Wrestling Showcase. I don't know why I couldn't think of it. But I was
Well, they've been closed for quite some time, so that's probably why.
I was in it was January of a couple years ago. I was in a 2-ring Royal Rumble type Ring Wars type match. I was the second entrant, and I made it to the Final Four. I was in there for over 45 minutes.
Your first match back?
Yes, it was.
After having your knee completely reconstructed?
Yes, and it felt great. It felt great to be back.
Who do you think you are, Bret Hart? Shawn Michaels? 45 minutes.
So after that, it was great to be back. Before all that, I had left Pro Wrestling Showcase on not good terms with Rob Wells. My last match for him was a barbed wire match against Hoss.
Yeah, that was the same night that you guys double shot it, right?
Yeah.
To come over for Robbie Page's IWF.
Yeah. That was a fun night. Old barbed wire match, but my second match back was for Pro Wrestling Showcase again. It was against Officer Davey Hetfield.
Solid worker.
Yeah, it was my first singles match back. It was good. I beat him because he's fat ass, and I fought the law, and fitness always wins. But it was great. With the weight I had dropped, it felt good. It was my knee was still a little. It didn't hurt.
Less weight on the knee.
Yeah.
Your knee was thanking you.
Yeah, it was. It wasn't that bad though. I mean, I was worried about my knee because I didn't want to hurt it, and then I had the next month off because I didn't want to I didn't want to overbook myself. I've been off for a year and a half. I don't want to overexert myself. So my third match back was actually it was for Superstar Wrestling. It was a tag.
And was this at the time that Mike DiMuzio was still running it?
I believe the transition was over to Inferno at this point.
Okay.
I'm not sure. They just booked me.
Yeah.
I didn't.
You don't know the history of SSW? Shit.
Well, I didn't. Whoever was running it, I'm friends with both of them, so
Now, is this the match that you messed your other knee up?
Yes, it was a tag match. It was me and Sean Castle going up against, I believe, Brandon, the tag team of Brandon Epic and Jason Valentine. And about an hour before the show, they were like, hey, it's going to be a triple threat tag team match now. And they threw Crucial Impact in there, and it was going to be for the tag team titles. So we're we're scrambling to figure stuff out and all that, and it was a very frustrating day. It was just overall the ride there, trying to work stuff out. Just certain people in the back would rather go and mingle and mess with fans or
rather than construct the match.
Yeah, and trying to learn because they were still fairly are new to the business, and they're too worried about doing other stuff than knowing what's going on.
Well, first of all, that's fucked up because that's your third match back. So if I'm wrestling you, I'm trying to talk to you as much as I can because it doesn't matter how many. Well, once you've returned, you've had a number of matches back. Okay, cool. Maybe we can go out there and walk and talk it. But dude, it's your third match back. I should probably touch base with you.
Yeah, and I know I'm not gonna throw the dude under the bus, but he wasn't there for majority of the time when we were talking about it. And it highly upset me at one point. One of the guys in the match had to go physically go grab him and pull him to talk to us because he was just going and being a fuck all, whatever.
Yeah.
And when you get multiple people in a match, especially 6 guys.
Yep.
It can turn into a clusterfuck just like that in an instant. And there's so many working parts.
You got to have some kind of direction.
Yeah. So I was already in a bad mind frame, and so we go into the match, and I don't know why, just to be funny. In my head, I wanted to do the spot where I wanted to be old Jimmy King from Ready to Rumble. The I will rule you. I don't know, just to be I was face.
So you're coming with the double axe handle.
Yeah, I was a face, and it was Kenny Craig came back. I was something new. Fans hadn't seen me in a year and a half, so. So it was like 30 seconds into the match, and Sean Castle, my partner, had I forget who he had. I think it might have been Brandon Epic or one of the guys from Crucial Impact, an arm ringer. I tag in. I go to the second rope, and I yell, "I will rule you!" And I come down, and instead of landing square.
On both feet.
Right. I kind of landed at like I was jumping a hurdle. Like my legs were split. And just because it's my luck, when I knew it happened, when I landed, I happened to be looking at my knee, my good knee that I didn't hurt in my accident. And I saw it buckle to the side, kind of like Sid Vicious when he broke his leg on Nitro.
God.
That's the way it looked, the way it bent. And I went down. It didn't hurt like too much, I guess, because of shock. But I literally thought I broke my leg, just the way it bent. So like 30 seconds into the match, and I'm just like, fuck. So Sean Castle gets in. I go underneath the rope. And luckily, another one of our best friends, Simon Shadows, he comes back because he comes out to the ring because he can see I'm legitimately hurt. And that poor guy, he was the only guy who helped me walk to the back. And when I was walking to the back, every couple steps I could feel my knee pop off to the side.
God.
And I basically had to put at least 90% of my weight on him every time that happened. And he carried me to the back, and the doctor, they looked at it. He looked at it in the back. He's like, "Oh, I think it's a possible torn ACL and all this stuff." And I don't know what's running through my mind. I'm just like, third match back. My girlfriend at the time was going to kill me because she whatever warned me.
Right.
And I was like, damn, it's my other knee. So I go to the hospital, they x-ray it. And,
so you actually did go to the hospital that night?
Yeah, we went from Dillsburg, I believe it was in Dillsburg, Pennsylvania. Or it might have been Carlisle. I'm not sure where the event was, but we went basically all the way to where I lived at the time in Waynesboro, Pennsylvania. It was a good about an hour away. And
are you in a lot of pain at this time?
Yes, I was actually Simon Shadows and I road trip together, and I was in so much pain on the way home, on the way to the hospital. The doctor had wrapped the ice bag around, the ice pack around my knee so bad, and it was hurting, and it was just, it was a
This doctor was actually a gynecologist. They just got him.
It was miserable.
God bless.
But I get there and they X-ray it and they say nothing's like ligament wise that they can see on the X-ray, nothing's broke or torn or popped or whatever, and they just basically put me in a
sprain or something.
They really don't know. I didn't have
nothing wrong here. See you later.
Well,
here's your bill, by the way.
I was supposed to go see a specialist, but I didn't have insurance at the time, so I didn't go to a specialist. They just basically hey, don't work.
That's a hell of a thing in this country,
Yeah.
Don't have insurance. You're deterred from going to the doctor to look into that.
Well, yeah, because I can't. Yeah, if I go to a specialist to see what's wrong with my knee and it's worse, something worse.
Yeah.
But the hospital said it wasn't really anything immediate. They just basically hey, wear a straight leg brace for a couple weeks. Here's some painkillers. Don't work. But it sucked because at the time I needed to work. I needed to work my job. I needed the money. So I took a day off from work, and then after that I would go to my job at a grocery store where I would stock and at the time unload dairy truck with a straight leg brace.
That's very physical.
Yeah, with a straight leg brace, and I could literally feel my knee popping in and out throughout the day working, and I was so thank God for painkillers. I know that's a problem. That's also a problem, but that got me.
But there's people like you that actually needed
it. But it got me through my job because I couldn't afford to take off at the time. But yeah, it that's more or less kind of ended my in-ring career, I guess. I think it's been a couple years now. It's been maybe two years now since my last match. I feel like maybe I have one more in me, but that would be it, just one. I did some ring announcing for when Simon Shadows. And,
for West Virginia Wrestling.
Yeah, I did ring announcing once, and I loved it. It was great. I got in the ring beforehand, trained.
That's how I broke into the business. Shane Shadows, he had me ring announce on all the first cards I was training at and everything. And dude, ring announcing is a lot of fun, isn't it?
It is. I enjoyed it. I was when Simon came to me and was like, "Hey, you want to ring announce?" I was very skeptical about it.
Dude, you're a shoo-in for it because what you like to do is talk in front of the crowd. So it's easy.
Yeah, it was. I just went with it because I miss wrestling even now. The last couple months or whatever, everybody's getting bookings, and I see it on Facebook, and I'm just like, damn,
right.
I started with I see you wrestling for Phoenix, and you're Phoenix Grand Champion and DuFour Horsemen, and you're working these places, and I see other guys that I pretty much. I was wrestling at the time, but they were just coming up, like TJ Sykes.
Yeah.
SWA, when he was really first starting, him and I had, we worked a thing, and, at the time I thought we put on some good matches.
TJ's killing it right now.
Yeah, he is down in Baltimore and Elite, and, just...
You got Jacob Edwin, NWA Mid-South champion right now.
I saw that, yeah. And,
that's insane.
For the longest time, he might kill me for this. He credited me for his loudest pop. We were working a battle royal, I think, for I want to say either who was it for? It was
Steve Bosley.
No,
I don't know.
No, it was
IP.
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
But it was at the Armory.
Yeah. You guys did a Rumble gimmick out there.
I remember Titan was in there and all that, but we were working the battle royal and whatever, and I was like, all right, it's time for me, to give my little send off. So I turned my back and I'm posing in the crowd, and I kind of gave Jake Jake the look. I'm like, all right, let's do this. And I turned my back, and he just came over and dumped me out, and that fucking place just erupted when he threw me out. And
were you getting pretty over?
Yeah, I
you were
mean,
getting the heat.
Yeah, I mean, when you're a bigger guy and you're calling even skinny people fat,
right. People are they're taking the bait.
Yeah,
and then here comes Jake, and he eliminates you.
And he just threw me out. We're in the back. He was like, "Hey," he's like, "That's the loudest pop I ever got." Like, and he said that for months afterwards. And I thought it was funny because I like Titan and stuff, but Titan came up to me. He was like, "Yeah," he's like, "I saw you set it up." He's like, I was gonna take it. He was like, if Jake didn't, I was like, well, I'm glad Jake did. Like, I was kind of setting it up for him to do it. Jake and I actually, we worked. We never really worked each other, but once, and that was at New Creek Carnival for CPW.
And those are some good cards to work somebody one-on-one.
Oh, they are. It's relaxed.
Yeah.
You just go out and have fun.
And the way that the promoter, Shane Shadows, the way that he puts together the cards out there, he allows the entire card. Because, I mean, these are small rosters out there that he books. So 4 or 5 matches on the card. Dude, you have time to work and you have time to sell. And, like, it's because of guys like Shane Shadows. That's why we got to hone our craft as well as we could.
Oh yeah, I credit Shane Shadows and Bill Bain, honestly too, for helping me and basically retraining me and kind of taking me under the wing. Because when I was working at SWA, I was kind of having a falling out there. It's when SWA and the House of Pain were kind of doing a crossover thing.
Yeah.
And I felt like I was getting stale there, like it really wasn't going anywhere. Rob Wells and I were fit and frosty, and like
you felt like you weren't getting challenged as a worker.
Yeah,
you wanted to tell stories.
I mean, at the time, I don't believe like TJ Sykes and I had good matches and stuff, but other than that, I mean, at the time, my talent wasn't where it was. It wasn't as good where will be. Or
did you feel like you weren't progressing?
Yes, exactly. Thank you. I was struggling there, but yeah, I wasn't progressing at all. I didn't feel a challenge. It was guys like, hey, I'll let you beat the shit out of me, and I'm like, oh, what are you learning from that? And what I'm learning from that. And then one night at the House of Pain, it was a tag match. It was Rob Wells and I, Fit and Frosty, versus Shane and Simon Shadows, and that was.
And you weren't that good of friends with Simon at the time, were you?
I didn't know them. I did not know.
That was your first night you met him.
Yeah, I never knew Shane. I never met him before.
That's intimidating.
Like I heard I've heard you talk about him before. Like years before that, you told me that you and I believe Josh Brinkman or Josh McMasters now or whatever.
Yeah, we broke in together down for Shane Shadow's school in CPW.
So I knew of his name, but I didn't know of him at all or really seen him wrestle.
Right. Whenever somebody like Shane Shadows, you always hear stories about the man.
Yeah.
Like guys like Shane Shadows, you always hear stories about it. I mean, whenever you've been wrestling in the area for 20 years plus, of course you're going to hear stories. So now you're in the ring with Shane. Was that intimidating to you?
Yeah, because that was the first time
I was about to shit myself the first time I wrestled him.
Because at that point, I had worked a match with Preston Steele, who's Doink, and Preston Steele has he's a veteran. He's been around. He's got years under his belt. He was really the only guy that I'd ever really worked at the time that had any experience, and then getting in there with Shane, and his son. But the whole night didn't go as planned. It was just. I was expecting to get in there and do my spots, but they ended up keeping Rob in there and and having a little fun with him. And about a year after everything happened, I was talking to Simon about it. I was like, Simon, why did why'd your dad take a liking to me? He was like, because of your fire. He's like, when you got tagged in, he's like, you just went with it and you just you came in, it was your fire. And honestly, if it wasn't for Shane giving me a chance and actually working with me to fine tune my stuff, other than a top a top wrist lock, I feel I wouldn't have gone or be where I am or was at the time.
And you don't know how many people say that about Shane. I mean, like the Jake Davises of the world, and myself. There's so many guys who, before they worked with Shane Shadows and the way that he constructs his cards and the way that he actually works, I mean, there's so many people who've reaped the benefits.
Honestly, I grew up when I was watching wrestling. I just turned 29. I grew up in the pinnacle of the Attitude Era, Austin and all that.
Me too, brother.
But growing up as a kid, my earliest memories of wrestling are being 4 or 5 years old and watching every Saturday morning. All my friends or neighborhood kids would be out playing. I would 8 o'clock in the morning. I had 4 or 5 VHS tapes of wrestling from the late 80s. Like I had WrestleMania 5 on VHS. I had.
Did you have SummerSlam 90?
No, I had SummerSlam 88 and SummerSlam 89.
Is one of those the ones?
These were pirated, so they're not
no good.
Yeah, these were when you had to use the VCR to record, so the tapes got worn out. But I remember watching in like Survivor Series 89. Like I remember watching these late 80s matches, and like that's what I loved was the pacing and the gimmicks and the over the top, like Rick Rude. Like it would suck. I was telling Simon about this watching those VHSs. It sucked because like they'd be like, oh, this is what's going to happen on like Wrestling Challenge next week, or like it's a VHS, so I don't know any of these storylines. Like SummerSlam, why did Roddy Piper come out and moon Rick Rude during his match with fucking Ultimate Warrior? I don't know. I will never know. Like
this is a really zany character.
But I really liked that style, the 80s type style of wrestling, I guess.
And that's what it influenced you to work the way that you do.
Well, that
I mean, because Kenny, there for a long time, you were kind of leaning towards the hardcore side of things.
I was early on. My pace has always been slower, and I feel like that's why me and Shane Shadows, like he loves Dusty Rhodes. Like he's very psychology based. Like he knows how to read a crowd and all that, and like how to work and pace a match, and that's how I like to work. I can work a fast tempo and spot, but that's not what I like to do. I just like to go, and that's what I was learning from Shane was how to, and Bill Bain. I don't want to miscredit anything to Bill, having road trips with him to CPW, like picking his brain. Like it's all about pacing and reading the crowd and listening to the reaction.
So, of all the styles in the world, the pure style, shoot style, and lucha libre and all that, you're just what you're yin and yang, if you will, is like old school, 80s style.
Yeah,
storytelling.
Yeah, kind of brawling-ish. Like I have, growing up, my favorite wrestlers weren't really the most technical savvy guys. Is more gimmick based.
And is that what you think is like the most real to you, and that's why you like doing it? Because that's why I work that style, because it's the most real to me.
Yeah, that's the way I look at it. Like nowadays, I don't get me wrong, I like wrestling nowadays too. But if I'm going to hit you with 4 reverse Hurricane Ranas and then a 450 splash, and you kick up, you'll kick out.
I would love to see you do any of that.
Well, you see, after this podcast, I'll be gladly to show you.
It'll all be audio footage. You can't see
exactly. But that's like it doesn't really make sense. Like it's not the moves. That wrestling's not about moves. It's that's why you make the fans emotionally invested. But I like that. Like you said, I like that style. It's not all about fast pace.
Right. See, it's like the best way I can relate all that to is like the first time that I saw Ring of Honor and what put me off on Ring of Honor is the first bits that I saw was these cruiserweights who were like doing everything in the book that they knew, like the Teddy Harts and who was his buddy? He wrestled every Jack Evans, all these guys. Yeah. I mean, like they're doing all this crazy stuff. That's cool, but you're not investing me emotionally. So wrote them off. ECW. First times I saw ECW, it was Terry Funk just got slammed through a table. Like stuff is getting caught on fire. Okay, that's cool, but you've been written off because that's cool if I see it one time, but like you can't draw me in like that. And for WWE in like the Attitude Era, the things that sold me, dude, was like Vince McMahon and Steve Austin's feud. The emotion that was coming out of those guys every week. Like, and then Mankind turns into Dude Love, and then The Undertaker is like this satanic guy. And it's like, dude, the characters, the pageantry of the whole thing. Dude, that's all me.
I know Simon gives me shit all the time, and I'll probably get shit for it now, is one of my all-time favorite wrestlers.
It's Jerry Lynn.
You don't have enough recording power or time to have that conversation. But no, it's actually is Akeem.
Akeem.
Yes, not One Man Gang, but Akeem.
The African Dream.
Akeem
is one of your favorites of all time.
Yes, not really based on his
that One Man Gang gimmick, man. It's for the birds. Akeem, that's where it's at.
Yes, because it was the gimmick. It wasn't really his working style, but it was just
the over the top.
Yes, okay. It was a fat white guy coming out in basically African garb and just saying he's a brother, coming out with Slick, the Jive Soul Bro, like, and doing his little ridiculous strut, and I don't know, like I just thought it was great, and like. I love the heels, like I love the over-the-top gimmicks growing up, like watching like Ted DiBiase, obviously, but he was a great worker.
Yeah.
Rick Rude, again, also one of my all-time favorites.
But pretty over-the-top, like promo-wise and stuff like that. Do you think that's why you liked him too?
Yes.
Yeah, right. That's like the big selling point.
Yeah, it's, I mean, if a guy wants to come out and like Austin, he, it's just basically his personality amped up to 10. Like that's, don't be dull. Like I don't like the dull stuff.
So what do you think about like guys like Dean Malenko?
Okay, see,
stoned face, great technician. Not going to take that away from him. But as far as his facial expressions, very librarian, very stagnant.
Yes, that's also why I don't like. Part of why I don't like Jerry Lynn.
Okay.
I've never really.
The guy wasn't known for personality. That's true.
But I also think he's overrated. I personally like his matches with Van Dam. I think Van Dam carried him. I've just never really been a fan of Jerry Lynn ever. But and I've never really been a fan of too much of the technical wrestling. Like you said, the stone face guys. Like I like William Regal. Actually, I like Lance Storm, which doesn't really show too much personality. Like, he's very stone-faced, is selling his, but he's a hell of an athlete. His matches are I like watching them, but it's just.
So you're saying that you do like Lance Storm?
Yeah, I do like Lance Storm, but like you brought up Dean Malenko, the guys who really. They're hell of workers. They're great technicians, but there's just no.
They lack that it factor, man. They lack that personality.
There's no really emotion. Like they have the same look if they get drop kicked in the face or pal driven. They have that same expression. You
want to know who my least favorite wrestler of all time is?
Oh God,
Scott Norton.
Really?
Scott Norton, man.
Why? God,
is he boring? I mean, like some could like if you were a Scott Norton fan or if you knew something about Scott Norton, you'd be like, oh, dude, that guy was a legit badass, man. Like you wouldn't want to mess with like. I don't care, man. Like I said earlier, I was into the gimmicks, man. Scott Norton, look at the guy. Nothing.
No, when he actually, if you remember, when he first came in, he was part of a tag team. He was It was him and then some other guy. There was that fire and ice deal. Like Scott Norton wore the trunks with the fire, and his tag partner was like another jacked up black guy. It was a jacked up black guy, and he wore like the ice, the icicles and stuff. It wasn't Glacier. I know where you're going to go.
Yeah, this is horrible. It just sounds bad. I'm glad that I didn't look more into Scott Norton.
No, it was before his NWO days. But yeah, but as far as wrestlers, like we said, hate wise, like mine would be Jerry Lynn and Jeff Hardy, but that's for lack of charisma and stuff. That would be Jerry Lynn.
Now, I did, while I have you, we're about halfway through the deal here. I did want to talk a little bit about some of the promotions that we've been a part of where maybe you excelled and I didn't, or I excelled and you didn't. Now, APW. Now, we're going to talk about Apartment Pro Wrestling. I'm sorry, All Premier Wrestling. We're going to talk about them for a second. Now, I was there before you were, and for anybody who doesn't know All Premier Wrestling, if you look in Chris Jericho's biography, he brings up All Premier Wrestling, and he says that it was the worst company, it was the worst show, worst everything that he had ever been associated with, and if he regretted anything, it was that. Now, I'm blessed to say I was a part of that show.
So was I, so I take honor in that.
So was Kenny. Now, but whenever All Premier first came around, it was the first company that actually started booking me whenever I left wrestling school. It was the first company that was like kind of like, they didn't give me a shot or nothing like that. They were just like, okay, if there's something extra, then we'll give it to you. And there was a handful of times where I did get to work for All Premier. Now, on the other token of that, whenever you came in, what was like, because I noticed that they pushed you, what did they see in Kenny Craig?
Well, it wasn't a push like right off the bat. It was from what I heard, it was when I came in and my first show was Battle Royal. It was really my first time ever.
So that's your opportunity to show them what gimmick you have.
Yeah, and I like Battle Royals in general.
You like Battle Royals?
I do.
God.
I don't know why. Watching them, being in them.
I mean, I don't mind them either. But
I like, if people know what they're doing, they can be fun.
Now, to be quite honest with you, like, and I'll let you continue. Whenever I was first breaking into the business, I loved Battle Royals because I would target the vets every time. I'd go straight to you. I would show them I know how to throw a punch. I would show them, dude, I can sell. Like, if you want me to put you over, like, fucking take me over your head, dump me over the top rope, something like that. So, like, I did like Battle Royales at the beginning. These days, I could take or leave it.
Well, the Battle Royals now, it's just like, hey, you've only been in the ring like 5 minutes altogether in your life, so let's throw in the Battle Royal. Like, that's the mentality. Or too many guys show up on the card and, they could be less than stellar.
Yeah.
And all aspects, and they just throw him in there like
everybody gets to do something.
Yeah, like, he brought his girlfriend and his pregnant wife and then his 3 kids.
Put him in the Battle Royal.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
He just sold 7 tickets to his family, so.
Oh, I thought you were talking about putting the pregnant girl in the Battle Royal.
Hey, whatever works, right? Asses in the seats, I guess.
Some promoters would do it.
But All Premier is it was a Battle Royal, and they just, I guess they were sold on my Kenny Craig gimmick. That was the first time I ever
did they hit you up that night about working like the next card and everything? Actually put you in a match.
I had asked them about it, and they told me like, hey, the next show is this. Show up, and maybe we'll give you something. We also run at a bar and all that. So I was under 21 at the time, and I was getting into a bar.
Which is cool in its own right.
Well, yeah, I mean, I wasn't drinking or anything, but it was cool to,
Yeah, I was 18, 19 years old working for those cards too.
And for the first, I would say, couple months working, I was face, and I did the job pretty steadily, but it didn't bother me. I was just happy, first getting in and a place that's actually taking a chance on me. Like, I was just happy to wrestle.
Happy to be there, right?
My first match there was a guy against Jesse Christ. Never met the guy before. Heard bad stuff about him all night. Everybody come up to me, oh, Kenny Craig, who are you working? Oh, Jesse Christ. Oh, I'm sorry. Cool. Like that's a
And the guy, I mean, right off the bat, the guy's name is Jesse Christ. That has promise written all over it.
It sounded like it, yeah. I had high hopes. Nobody could see my eye roll, but yeah. The match wasn't bad. He just it was shitty because I really didn't know what I was doing. I was still, I didn't.
Wasn't that bad, but it was shitty.
It was. I try to make look the silver lining and everything, but for what I got. I did what I was supposed to do, and that was to make him look good.
And is that what they saw?
Yes.
And they liked that.
And they brought me back after that. And after the match, they're like, usually people struggle with him. They're like, but you made him look good, and this and that. And ironically, that seemed to be the running theme in my life, well, career, I guess you would say, is they put me in there, not just with All Premier or somebody like, oh, sorry, you're working this guy tonight. Try to do your best, and I would, and that's
I can imagine if that was like event after event after event. Sorry, this guy now.
But All Premier was fun. I worked a guy like I worked Prodigy. I know he's no longer with us, but he was the first man to ever powerbomb me.
What now with Prodigy? Yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit about Prodigy. Now, did you only have one match with the guy, or did you actually have an angle with him?
No, it was one match.
Okay.
I was working him, and he was part of a stable called Black Wall Street at the time, and I was working a guy named I was working Prodigy, and the guy named Tay Money. He was referee. He's a worker, and he was kind of feuding with Black Wall Street a little bit. They were trying to,
run whatever angle they were doing.
So after the match,
did you like working with Prodigy?
Yeah.
See, he intimidated the shit out of me.
Oh, he did too. He made my chest bleed from chopping me.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah.
I mean, but hey, man, you see where he came from.
I don't feel like he took liberties with me. Like,
right.
A chop's a chop, but I don't feel like he
snug.
Yeah. So I worked him, and then I met Jerkface there, Brad Jones. Met him there for first time, and he actually helped me come up with my no salt diet, the name of my moon salt.
That's great.
Yeah. So I met a lot of guys down there that did have experience that had been wrestling there. Towards the end, I started when they.
They brought in Deuce too.
Yeah, they brought in
Anthony
Deuce.
Odyssey came in there at the end.
Yeah, he was there. Doyle Day.
Yep. They did have some quality workers there at the end. I mean, they even had like Luke Hawk coming down.
Yeah, he was there for quite a number of shows, and believe it or not, Joe Gacy, who's now CCW World Champion, he worked a couple matches there. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
He was traveling with Luke?
No, I believe they just brought him down.
Because, dude, at the time, there was some company, based out of Philadelphia or something like that, with, Teddy Fine and guys like that.
Oh, yeah, Teddy Fine.
And they were all, traveling down together. So I guess, was Joe Gacy part of their?
I'm assuming he was.
Yeah, because there was a lot of quality guys coming in at a certain point of APW's history.
And then towards the end, they, after, I guess you would say paying my dues, I was turned heel, and I was starting a program with a guy named Solid Stud Jim, which I thought would have been great because the guy is ripped. Like he was
a construction worker in real life.
He was ripped. He had the 6-pack, and then you had the guy who's saying he was personal trainer or whatever.
He was working at Chippendales too, wasn't he?
Probably.
I'm just making shit up.
I just thought, and we had something going on there for about 2 months, and that's when.
Were you a part of APW's last event? The very last show?
Yes, it was the tag team, I believe the tag team extravaganza type.
Oh, tournament kind of thing?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
It was me and a guy named.
That's the kiss of death for a lot of companies.
It was me and a Kid Legend. I don't know what he's doing now. And I actually wrestled because my finger was broke at the time.
I don't remember that. Yeah. I don't think I was a part of their last show.
No, I know. I don't think you were either.
No.
Because I think at that time you were already gone.
Man, I had a lot of heat with that company.
Oh, Robbie Page, he was also down there too, and Chris Klein.
Yeah, whenever Robbie Page and Chris Klein first ventured out from their training school. Yeah. We'll just name them, man.
Oh,
name them. They ventured out, and that was actually, I believe, that was either the first or second place that they had showed up to. Because I remember being with SWA whenever they did that joint thing with HSK and all those guys. You remember that night?
Yeah.
Because I believe Robbie Page and Chris Klein showed up and wrestled for, I think, SWA's portion of the show. But, dude, and I already knew who they were, and I was pissed. Because I was like, how am I supposed to advance here and get higher on the card if you actually have real workers here? This is bullshit.
I can see your frustration.
Dude, I was pissed.
But I was supposed to work for you with Solid Stud Gym, and then 2 months after that, it just folded, and I didn't have a place to work there for a little bit.
So you went back to SWA and...
Well, actually, I went to SWA for the first time after that. Like,
oh, okay. Yeah.
It went all Premier, and then it was SWA.
Now, and see, there was a point in time where SWA was actually like a great company to work for. Like, there was names coming in, and they had all these guys who were like in great shape and great workers, just all together, all around, great workers. And then I don't want to say anything bad about the rosters later, but it kind of speaks for itself.
Yeah.
And the crowds got lower. I don't want to run the thing down into the ground, but, I was a part of the SWA for a long time there. And I saw it grow, and then I saw it die down, and then I saw it grow again. But you were... the portion of SWA that you were a part of, would you say that... What kind of feel did the SWA cards have to you?
At the time...
Did you feel like you were a key player for the company? Did you feel like...
I feel like they were kind of giving me the ball, but not. Like
they're giving you a feud, right?
Yeah.
Like, they're giving you a story to
run
with.
That's when I was working with TJ. It was I had my first match there was a triple threat match. It was me versus TJ Sykes versus a guy named Bud Cassidy.
Oh, great! The great Bud Cassidy.
And then my second booking there, it was they were having a battle royal for like the vacant like Potomac, Mid Potomac Championship. Or
the Mid Atlantic Championship.
Yeah, the Mid Atlantic Championship.
I almost held that belt.
And then I was in the bag. It was my second match there, and they're like, "In your way," and they're like Kenny Craig. I was like, "Oh, cool, like sweet."
Did you see them pull your name out of the hat?
Yeah, they did. It was I was like, "Damn." I was expecting something like a rabbit or something, but they're like, "Oh no, Kenny Craig." I was like, "Cool."
There's like a rabbit and one other piece of paper. They chose the rabbit.
They pulled the rabbit out of the hat, and the rabbit was holding the hat, and then he pulled that hat, and it had a piece of paper in it. It was very technical.
Hey man, that's SWA, man.
That was the budget. That's what they cost the whole budget. They couldn't pay anybody. There was
that ring. There was just a rabbit and a hat.
That's what it went to.
That's great.
But and then after that, I started my feud with TJ, and you were talking about like.
Did you see promise in TJ right in his early days? Because that was the very beginning for TJ, pretty much.
Yeah. I've always liked TJ. For the most part, and I don't want that to sound bad. Booking decisions made during that time of our feud, or when we were working together, rubbed me the wrong way.
You had a different idea of where you wanted it to go?
Yes.
Okay.
I knew ultimately what the end game was, and I had no problem with that. But it was how they were setting up for me to drop the belt to him.
Was it kind of... Did you look at it as kind of like demeaning your gimmick? Like what you were offering to the whole thing?
It didn't make sense to me, because at the time I was part of...
Dude, it's hard to commit to anything that doesn't make sense to you.
At the time, it was... I was part of Spencer's Colony, TJ's part of Clan Hay, I was part of, the biggest heel faction in the SWA, like
the only heel faction?
Well, I said one of the biggest. It could have been the only.
There was another faction?
There could have been. I don't know.
It was the biggest and the smallest.
The weakest and the strongest. No, I honestly, I just didn't agree with it during our feud. I knew ultimately he was going to take the title from me. I'm not stupid. Like that was building towards it. But I don't think he should have basically the 6-7 months leading up to it, I don't think he should have gotten one up on me 90% of the time. That doesn't make sense. That makes me look weak. Like, why is the good guy always...
He's just pretty much dogging you and dogging you and dogging, and then he just takes the belt from you, and then you ride off into the sunset.
More or less, and that was pretty much done with SWA after that. I had a couple more singles matches, and I tagged with a guy named Landslide. It was Hoss, but
okay.
Tagged with him for a little bit after that, and then I just kind of rode off into the sunset.
You and Joey Landis, man, and Josh Brinkman.
Yes.
What was that angle? What was going on?
We were part of Spencer's Colony, and for the longest time, Joey Landis didn't want to wrestle, and I was like, "Hey, be my manager." He's like, "That's not wrestling," so okay.
Nice.
Yeah, pretty much, and he was.
And
my manager.
Landis is just one of those guys, man. He's underrated as hell, and if the guy wanted to, he could wrestle all over.
Oh
if
yeah,
he wanted to.
He has the look. I mean, he's just his problem's always been lack of motivation.
Sure.
The guy, just like you, I've known you and him the same amount of time.
Hey,
know?
man, but 2012, 2013, man, Joey Landis, man, he was wrestling everywhere.
He was and then just I don't know what happened. He just kind of rode off into the sun. I think he just got sick. I think he just got sick of everything.
I mean, whenever you commit to professional wrestling, you can't just commit to professional wrestling. You have to commit to the politics. You have to commit to the bullshit. You have to commit to all these things. Some guys are a lot better at doing it.
Yeah, or I'm a nice guy, so I just kind of like, just give me what you got, and I'll try to make the best out of it. And like when I had to wrestle a guy named Cowboy Dunk, like
hey,
super nice guy, but
would rather not. Right.
But after SWA, it was just that's when I met Shane, and that's where I was getting booked by him,
and that is the proudest of your legacy, right there.
Yeah, I would say that's probably Shane. He gave me a chance, and he showed a guy who was bigger at the time, but I was light on my feet, and I was willing to learn, and I guess I had potential. He saw something in me, and me and you, we worked in. We were talking about stuff, places where either I've been successful and you haven't, or you've been successful and I haven't. Phoenix. You're the grand champion.
You're damn right about that.
I don't feel like I ever got a fair share up there. I never feel like I got a shot.
Which is totally fair, and there's plenty of people who feel like that about Phoenix Pro Wrestling too, and I'm not going to lie about that. The thing about Phoenix Pro Wrestling is that whenever they were talent scouting for Phoenix Pro Wrestling, myself and my old tag partner, Tyler Caton, we were in a tag team match with Shane Malice and Zach Rain. And those two were like the premier talent scouting guys for the promoter up there. And so whenever we got brought in, we were just in a better position right out the gate than anybody was, because we had already worked with the two scouts and they knew what we could do. And they wanted to push us like right out the gate. And that's exactly what they did. And man, and it was a time in my wrestling tenure that I was going to the gym. I was eating right. I was training all the time with Robbie. I was traveling with Shane. I was doing all this stuff. So it was just, for me personally, it was a right place, right time.
Well, see, that's the thing is, we got invited up. It was me, Simon Shadows, and I believe Jason Justice. Like you had worked
down
out
at their training center.
Yeah, it was in the church.
In the church of Phoenix.
Yeah, you had set something up, and you got us to come up to try out. And I actually worked a match with Simon, and I worked a match with Shane Malice. And
you and Malice always had good matches.
Yeah, later on for CPW we did it, but for Phoenix, they booked me for their show, and I had a triple threat match with Jacob Edwin, who was Jake Young at the time, and Mark Maverick, who is now Mark Hart.
Yeah.
We had a triple threat match, and the winner would get a Phoenix contract, and I won, and
and then just nothing,
and then like something happened.
Wait, what did happen with that?
Well, I think like something happened. And like I wasn't able to make the next show because I think I wasn't able to get off work. So I came up like the month after that. But that had also been when I had injured my shoulder. And I came up and the promoter wouldn't let me work. That was also the night I got pied in the face.
Okay.
But we're not going to talk about that.
Yeah.
I hurt my shoulder, and they were like, "All right, well, since you and Mark Maverick, you guys kind of had a little thing in that triple threat match. You go out and you attack him. Your shoulder's hurt, but you go attack him." So I went and I attacked him, and during a run-in or whatever, and I was supposed to set it up, and then after that, nothing.
Yeah.
And I would try to contact the promoter, and he just never. I was like, okay, whatever. So.
Yeah, I mean, like as far as a promoting aspect, man, with all these people who are hitting you up for bookings and stuff like that, and you're one of the and you're like the only company in Western PA that's running in like Altoona and Johnstown like every month. I'm sure that it just gets probably too much to handle with all these people trying to get booked and stuff like that. I'm sure it was nothing personal towards you.
Well, I didn't see it that way. But,
yeah.
But when you winner gets a contract or whatever,
oh,
it's like,
never mind.
I was like, you're gonna okay, cool. This is a new place to work, and then it's just
some
like
kind of angle there. Yeah.
Yeah, this is like, I was like, okay, whatever.
Right.
But it just opened up more opportunities.
Yeah. Well, Kenny, we are nearing an hour, and I just got to say that this was quite the enjoyable adventure.
Yes, the pleasure has been all mine. At first I was like, God, I hope we don't struggle. I ain't gonna lie. I was like, man, because before you're like, well, if we get into 15 minutes, we don't got nothing to say. I was like, damn it, something's gonna happen.
And we were gonna start talking about what's your favorite thing to order from Wendy's.
I'm fit. I don't eat Wendy's.
It's true. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is episode 5 of the DuFour podcast. If you like what I'm doing here, give it a share. Maybe press like. You don't have to press like.
No, press like.
It helps, though.
Yes, definitely helps.
Yeah, give it a comment. Listen to the past episodes. We had Corey Bush on the last episode.
Ooh. Corey Bush and I, we actually had a match before my car accident.
Is that any good? It was garbage.
So we're wrapping up this podcast.
Yeah, let's just take it home. Sometimes in professional wrestling, you have to take it home.
Just gotta take it home.
And tune in to the next episode, which should be uploaded near the end of March. Once I find another one of my friends or somebody who, I might just interview somebody I don't know. That'd be interesting, wouldn't it?
It would be interesting.
Like if I didn't know him at all.
Random stranger.
Hey, what's your name? You work for Walmart?
This is a shoot. This is a shoot. Just go. Work on the fly, kid.
I'll start using terms like that. They're like, a shoot. What? All right. Well, thank you very much. And please subscribe and do all that junk that I just told you to do. Bye-bye.